tip here. I finally got through this video after numerous interruptions, but when I started it, I thought it was something that found out later it wasn't. So that's how it goes in this business. You start troubleshooting something, and I guess your experience says, well, that's what it is, and you go to that and you change the component, and I found out that wasn't what it was, and I wound up having to give the customer a new lid switch because I changed it out and it wasn't defective. I should have tested it with a multimeter. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get right to it.
So here we have a General Electric GE. Let's see what the model number of this thing is. It is a model number GTWN4250D1WS. And the problem is, it will won't work. The pump is working. I know what's wrong with it, but I want to show y'all. And it started doing this, and I put it in here to evaluate. It was doing this, and I knew exactly what was wrong with it. However, I wasn't able to get my camera in time to show you. So let's pump it out and start all over, and I'll show you what I saw. All right, let's get back to this. So I emptied the water out of it, and I've already taken the top loose. And I'll show y'all how to do all that. Top back on like that. This top comes off. This front comes off. There's two clips. You'll slide a putty knife. Sometimes a putty knife will not slide underneath those things, so you have to get a screwdriver, kind of pry it up a little bit and wiggle a putty knife to get this off, for this front panel to come off. There's two clips on there and one there. And then this top is I fastened down my 2 1/4-inch bolts that go in right here, and then you can take the top off. We're getting ahead of ourselves, so we're going to do a speed wash. Let me get the phone. Alright, we're back at it. I'm going to put this on a medium load. I can do a small probably because we won't put that much water in it, and because it's not going to start for us. But you heard that beep beep. Let me get the phone. Alright, hear that beep beep? About every 10 seconds it beeps twice. Yep, that beep beep. So what that is on this machine is a code telling you that your lid switch is bad. So what we need to do is change this lid switch. And it's a magnetic switch. We got a magnet here and this part here. I've already tested this magnet. You can make sure that magnet's magnetized. I'm putting a screwdriver or something on it. You can see. So this is good, so that means this electrical piece is bad. So what we need to do is take that off. And the way you take that off is you take this front off. I'll tell you, I can't do this video. Let me get back to you. Now, barring any more interruptions, what we need to do is take that lid switch off. So first thing you do is you take this front cover off, and I think I showed you where these clips are. And once you get that off, there's 2 screws, 1/4-inch screws, here and here. Take that off. Now you want to raise this up and you want to shift it to the left, because it's got these tabs right here that shift left. Now you want to get down here and you need to take this out so you can get the up, and the back side of it's got a little tab, and I'll show you once we get it out. And you can reach under there and you can push that tab forward and push up and slide this out, and you can see how to get that out. You just turn it sideways, and now you can remove this whole lid. And let's set it aside. Now we want to change this piece out, and we'll unplug it because you don't want to get zapped. Now you can trace this rascal all the way back here. They're usually just hardwired in, and they don't have a plug. Some of them do. This one I don't believe does. It doesn't. Anyway, we need to change this out. So the way you do it is you just cut it off and splice in another one. That's the easiest way. So let's look for lid switches, door switches, and jumpers. These are whirlpools. G dryer knobs, control boards, sorted belts, whirlpool belts. I have one in the, I'll have to get one out of the truck, or they may be here. Here we have a brand new GE lid switch, and they give you a bunch of wire here. On account of they want you to run it all the way back, and we actually can do that. If you want to. It's a yellow and orange wire. I don't usually run it that far back. Let's see. Let's take this cover off, and we'll see how this operates. So if we were to run that backwards, back to here, you can see that it would run to this piece right here, which also has a ground on it. But I don't do that. This is what I do. I cut the other one off. And I skin these wires out so I can splice them. Just like so. And now the other one doesn't need to be that long. I give it plenty of distance so I can work with it. And I just cut off the excess and save that wire. You may need it someday. Now this is my best wire stripper. It's always with me. I know they make better. And if you have a favorite wire stripper, put it in your comments, and I might try it out and do a review on it. I don't think I'll ever get through this video for interruptions. I'll get right back to you. Barring any more interruptions, we might get through this. It is the Monday after the Thanksgiving holidays, and buddy, people are all over me today. Okay, where are my... There they are. Get 2 of those. And let's strip this wire back. Now, as far as crimping tools, if you get one of these Wi-Fi crimping tools, that rascal, this is one of the best tools I own. I have done lots of repairs with it, and it crimps a steak on very well, and it does it neatly. So we have 2 stick-ons or butt splices, and now we need to splice that in to here. I guess what you could do, if you didn't want to splice it here, you could splice it up under the console there, and then maybe wire tie the excess. But they don't give you much room with it. I guess they give you enough. This is the way I've always done it. This is the way Mr. Harper did it, and that's what he taught me, so that's the way I'm going to do it. So we get the yellow and the orange stripe, and we will crimp it on. And now we get the orange wire, and we will crimp it on. Just like that. Now let's get us some electrician's tape and tape this up. A lot of times I use butt splices that are heat shrinkable, and I'm out of them right now. And I'll take if you take those butt splices that are heat shrinkable and take a heat gun and just heat them, the ends of them will crimp down on the wire and make a waterproof joint. However, you can just wrap it with electrician's tape also. Keep them from moving around. And I just do it like that. Now, go ahead and I'm just going to plug it back in because we are not going to have any danger of being shocked now. And I'll get a small zip tie, and you want to kind of secure the wires as best you can so they won't be moving around, and you want to keep it away from this thing. But we know that our our lid switch is in this area right here. So let's just wire tie it right here. And that'll keep any excess wire from hanging out and getting rubbed by this. Now, let's get our lid back over here. And remember that little flap thing right there? It's on the back side. It probably doesn't matter, but that's the way it came out. So that's the way I'm going to put it back in. Just like so, and it should snap. You push it forward, it snaps down, just like that. Now we can, well, since we took this off, we can just put our top back on, and it's going to fit. This is why it's not going to cooperate, is it? There we go. That side, that side. Push, push. Push, push. Now we can take this and put our tabs back in and slide them to the left. And everything should be there we go. Put your end pieces all in. All that snap back into place. Everything looks good. That's going to line up. That's going to line up. Now let's turn it on and see if we have the same issue. Let's do it medium now because I want to test the whole machine, and there should be a medium load in it. Beep beep. I see one area here is messed up. I'm going to pull this out so it doesn't, somebody has pushed the button too severely. Uh-oh. So if it's still beeping, it may be a motherboard problem. So we made a common mistake on this thing. We thought it was a lid lock, and it wasn't. So that the two beeps for this thing means there's not communication going to one thing or another. And at first I thought it might be the control board that is messed up, and I have one, and I know that this one is good. So I took it out of a working machine that had a bad drum in it, and I still got that. And I got to thinking, well, what else could be? It could be in the wiring, you know. That code, that double beep code, is the OMG code. It's, oh my God, something's bad wrong. So I kind of think if you think about how this machine operates, when you put it on wash, it will start running water in it, and it will rotate the drum about every 10 seconds. And when does that beep occur? About every 10 seconds. So I'm thinking that motor is defective. Now, I'd like to test the windings on that motor, but it's kind of difficult to do because you really need some sharp pins to go. These aren't sharp enough to go into this thing here. This motor here has exposed things on the back side, but that one doesn't. These are the same motors, so I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to take this motor and change it out and see if that fixes it. Sometimes it's trial and error on these things. It's what you run into every now and then. So let's do that. Doesn't take anything to swap the motor out. If I can find my dollies. There's one. Here it is. I'll work on this later. I have got a ton of work in the shop to do, but I need to have a video ready. Let me get the phone. It is a very busy day. It's the first Monday after the Thanksgiving holidays, and I'm telling you, people are driving me nuts. But that's what you want in a good thriving business, is for people calling you all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap these motors out, and we'll see if that works. I'm pretty sure it is, if you think about it, because that double beep comes at the time when the motor should turn. And I noticed that I can't see an LED light up in there to give me the error codes. So I'm thinking that's probably what's going on, is this motor is defective. But sometimes it's not. So since I have a motor, I'm going to swap it just to see. I believe that is a 3/8 bolt on there, and I am correct. So I'll take that loose. And we have clothes in it, but I'll get that belt to come off. There it went. I'll have to fish it out from the bottom here in a minute. There's 4 nuts on this thing that tighten the motor on, and sometimes they're a challenge to get off because they'll only come off a certain distance before they hit the big pulley down there, so you kind of have to work with it. And it doesn't give you much room for error. But once you get them off, the motor comes out pretty easy. And if you can get them off where you can spin them with your finger, it's a lot easier. There's one. Here's the next one. And they fit in slots, but you have to get the nut off of there because it won't go by the bracket that the motor sits on. Some machines are easier to work on than others, and I don't think these G's are that hard to work on, but most Whirlpools seem to me to be easier to work on. The newer GEs seem to be an easier animal to deal with. Now I'm getting this with my fingers. Alright, so I got 3 of them off. Let's see if I can get this one with my fingers. Dropped it back down. And I've got it, so I'll be able to lift that motor right out of there now. Just like that. Pretty sure it's the same motor. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't see an LED light up in there. This motor may not have the LEDs. This one comes with its own set of nuts and washers. This happens to be a used motor that I took off another machine. I wonder if I can slide that. I can't. I remember now. Has to come off. Alright, so let's slide this motor down in here. Just like so. This motor has these 2 pins in it. I'll show you on this one. There's 2 pins right here. And they fit in 2 slots right here. So when you get that motor in there and you put those in those slots, then you know you have it positioned correctly. But don't get too zealous yet, because if you tighten these top ones, because sometimes you have to pull that motor this upwards or forward to get these started on there. Like so. Once you get them started, then you can position everything. Just like that. Now we can position that like so. I'll run these down. And these positions where you can run them down. And you have to do those each at the same time. It's not really an easy task to get that position just right. And you want to run it down as far as you can by hand, on account of you have a lot of turning to do with a wrench if you don't. I hope y'all can see what I'm doing down in there. Yeah. There we go. This one can go down a little bit more. I'm doing this blindly. Alright. Alright. Get our 3/8 wrench out and put the tight on it. And if you'll look down in there, you can see that there's not much clearance between the post that these nuts go on and the big pulley. Now, let's clip that back into place. I'll clip this one back into place. And fit that in right in there. And fit that one right there. And this one will go right there. Okay, so now we need to put the belt on. It's down in there. And I'm going to show y'all a trick. I may have shown you this before, but these belts are really hard to put on if you don't know this trick. You put it down here like so, hang it on your motor. But if you'll take a zip tie and zip tie that belt to that big pulley like that, and now you can keep it on your motor here. Well, I've got that thing full of clothes. It's hard to turn, but not impossible. You'll get to a point where it'll start getting tight. I'm gonna have to get those clothes out of there. They're wet and heavy. Now we ought to be able to do this. Alright. So, remember to keep that on your pulley there. Alright, now we're starting to this one. Now we're starting to get it over here where we need it. If you look at it, coming up there on our zip tie, it pops right into place. Then you can carefully run your hand down in there with some side cutters and just clip that zip tie off. Then run your belt around a couple times to make sure it seats in the proper spot. And it has. There we go. And all that water you hear gurgling, it's in the balance ring. Now we can throw all this stuff back in here. We'll reposition it when we get it raised up, and we'll test this thing again. And I'm pretty confident that the OMG code is a motor. Because of that like 10-second delay with the beep. I think it beeped every time the motor would have gone on. So plug it in. Yeah, I got a hole in that. I have a hole in that right there. How about that? I need to repair that too. Alright. Now we have it on drain and spin. Let's try that. Let's position our clothes so we don't have it out of balance. If it does happen to come on for us, I think that's about right. Yep, and spin. Look at there. Look, it's starting to move. Can you see that? See, it's moving now, so it was a motor all along. Let's cut this back off, and we will do a speed wash with it. Let's get our dolly out of here, and some water hooked up. And we'll give it a test. And we need to fix the leak in that hose. We can do that with some rubber tape that's made just for that. But let's do that later. It can do it now. I have to be dry to do that, so crank the power on, the water on. I'm gonna move this out just on the edge there. Let it drip on the ground instead of the concrete. Everything looks ready. Let's put this on warm, medium load. Pre-soak is off. Speed wash is good. Turn on. Now, let's see if we hear that beep beep every 10 seconds. I don't think we will. So you'd think a technician with my experience would know that that was the motor, but I didn't. I bet that's happened to me before. That it wasn't obvious at first. I actually thought it was the a lid switch, because that's similar to what happens with the lid switch on these that don't have the light to give you the code. It'll beep, and that beep means there's it's not communicating with another part. It just happened to not be communicating with the motor this time, not the lid switch. And so I thought it was the lid switch, but it wasn't. And then I said, well, it has to be the control board. So I changed the control board, and I even dated my control board. So I had a whole new console, and I tried it with a new console, and that didn't work. By the way, while I'm here, you see this jumper right here. Now this jumper, all these control boards on these type of GEs are exactly the same. The only difference is the way they're jumpered. If they're a different model or type of machine, or have some different components or something, you'd have this jumper right here. So if you're fixing one and you have a spare control board and you need to fix that machine, you would get the jumper off of that one and put it on here. And in fact, the jumper on that machine is different from this one, because this machine has different options on it. You see at the top it says quick rinse, and here it says drain and spin. So these options will be different. If you take that jumper off of there and put it on here, options will be the same as that. That's not what we want to do. Anyway, we sounds like we fixed it, and I think we fixed it because I don't hear the beeping anymore, and the motor's turning the tub where it wasn't before. So let's go ahead and junk this. And I'm pretty sure it's because of the windings were burnt, but it's awful rusty. So we can add another motor to our junk iron pile. Yeah, it's working fine. That motor is turning that load just like it's supposed to, and we'll see if it works. If it does, we fixed another one. Give me a thumbs up.